welcome back. We are going to do phrases and clauses today. But before we begin, let's revise something that we've already done. I didn't do it on the board, but I did it orally. So anyway, let's do it on the board now. What is a sentence? If you remember, a sentence has to have two things. It needs to have a subject. It needs to have a verb. But it needs to fulfill one more condition. And that is that it needs to express a complete thought. Which means it needs to make sense. And it needs to end with what is known as either a full stop or a period. Period is another name for a full stop. So what is a sentence? A sentence is a group of words which has a subject, a verb, and it expresses a complete thought. What that means is that in case something has a subject and a verb, does not mean it is a sentence. So for example, he wants. It's not a sentence because it is not expressing a complete thought. He wants what? So that is a sentence, okay? Phrase. What is a phrase? A phrase is a part of a sentence, pay attention, which does not have either the subject or the verb or both, and therefore obviously doesn't make complete sense. Repeat. A phrase is a group of words or a phrase is a part of a sentence which doesn't have either the subject or the verb or both, and it doesn't make complete sense. A clause is a part of a sentence that has the subject and the verb both, but it may or may not make sense. Okay? There's a space here. So a phrase is a part of a sentence, a clause is a part of a sentence that has a subject and a verb, however it may or may not make sense. So there is an obvious question. If a clause makes sense, then how is it different from a sentence? If a clause makes sense, then how is it different from a sentence? The answer is it is not. What that means is that every sentence is a clause, but every clause is not a sentence. Okay? And a clause which makes sense, which means it can stand on its own, is known as an independent clause because it can stand independently. And a clause which doesn't make sense is known as a dependent clause because it cannot stand independently. And a clause is dependent on the independent clause. Another way of saying the same thing is that every sentence has to have at least an independent clause. There's a possibility that the independent clause is the only thing in a sentence, in which case the independent clause has a full stop, in which case it is a sentence. But a sentence may have some other things apart from an independent clause, and those other things could be another independent clause or a dependent clause. Okay, I want to spend just a few moments with independent clause, after which independent clause is going to be very important for us. And this, what I'm going to discuss, is more relevant for GMAT students than for CAT students because I don't think this is asked in CAT, but it is definitely asked in GMAT and I think quite often. The thing is how to join in case the same sentence has two independent clauses. Now, right now these are two sentences, okay, and each one is an independent clause. Remember, a clause has to have its own verb and its own subject, own verb and its own subject. So these are two sentences right now. Suppose I want to make it into one sentence having two independent clauses. So now, here's the question. Can I remove this and place a conjunction? Okay. So he went to the market and there he met a friend. Can I? The answer is no, I cannot. This is known as a run-on sentence. Okay, so what is a run-on sentence? When I'm joining two independent clauses with just a conjunction. Okay, so can I change this to this? I've added a comma. He went to the market, comma, there he met a friend. Can I do this? The answer is no. This is known as a comma splice. Both of these are sentence errors. The first error is when you're joining two independent clauses with just a conjunction. So that error is known as a run-on sentence. The second is when you're joining two independent clauses with just a comma, and that error is known as a comma splice. So how do we join two independent clauses in the same sentence? The first method is you use both of them. So you use a comma and one of the coordinating conjunctions. Okay, remember coordinating conjunctions, fanboys. So the first method of joining two independent clauses in the same sentence is you use a comma and a coordinating conjunction. For, and, nor, but, or, yet, so. That is the first method. The second method is you just use a semicolon. So instead of this, you just do this. He went to the market, semicolon, there he met a friend. In fact, if you've ever wondered what is the point of a semicolon, when are we supposed to use it, this answers that question. You use a semicolon to separate two independent clauses. The third method of separating two independent clauses is you use a semicolon and something known as a conjunctive adverb. Okay, what is a conjunctive adverb? These are adverbs which sort of play the role of an conjunction. So words like however, moreover, and so on. Okay, that is the third. Of course, the fourth method is how it was. The sentence was originally made. You just use a you just use a full stop or a period. It's the same thing. Now you might say, why can't we just do this? Well, for variety in your writing so that it doesn't seem to be monotonous. So remember, we anyway use a period or a full stop between two sentences. Now sometimes when two sentences, meaning two independent clauses, have a relationship, they're connected, it makes sense to use one of these. Okay, so this is how you join two independent clauses.